Hello everybody, welcome back to another video on the channel, and in today's video I want to talk about the PvP update. I played roughly about 40-ish kind of games on it, and I can confidently say that this is the best meta we've had in a year or over a year. It's been a long road. Now, in today's video I want to talk about good parts about it, some parts where they can improve the game, stuff like that. And I honestly just want to say, if you are someone who wants to try PvP, or you've been putting it off because of, how OP some stuff is, now is a good time to try and do it, because every school is honestly pretty viable right now. Even death is honestly kind of good in some spots when, it's still the worst school right now in this update, but it still can be competitive, can be good, and that's an important thing. The first flaw I want to talk about with PvP right now, and what I believe is the biggest problem in PvP, is going to be the elo system. Now, players have complained about this for almost 3 years now. I'm not kidding. Every player in the game does not like this rank system. I have said multiple times, I'm serious, not exaggerating here, this has to be the worst ranked competitive system ever in the history of gaming. I'm not trying to be, negative or exaggerate. Like, I am serious. This system is horrible. And I'm saying this as somebody who's hit Warlord on a Storm, and I'm somebody who's also been high rank on every school except for like 2 of them, like Marshall at least. So I'm not complaining because I can't win and I can't rank up. It just feels horrible and no one likes it. The reason elo doesn't work in a game like Wiz is because there's counter matchups in the game, and they don't modify the wins or loss after, the match is done. So, for example, if you on average gain 20 rank, but you get a counter matchup and you beat it, maybe you'll get 23. But if you lose to that counter matchup because you were expected to lose, you'd only lose like 17 or 18 instead of the standard 20. That would be a good ranked system. But as of right now, Wiz does not account for the fact that there are counter matchups in the game, and they do not account for the fact that crits can completely shaft you or may cast braces, or the opponent crits every hit and you die by nothing, and then you don't crit your 1 hit and they live by 1 health, right? That's just bad. That doesn't feel great. And the devs can be stubborn all they want, but that is the reality and that is how it is, and the players have made it clear they don't like it. So you need to either change it and make modifiers like I stated in my point here, or you need to go back to the old system where it's flat. I know Rapid said they wouldn't mind going back to flat until you hit Warlord and then it being elo. I honestly would be on board with that, but one thing I will defend about the elo system is I like that rank means something, but I mean it doesn't, because like boosting and targeted harassment. But aside from that, really, it means more than it did in 4th Age, because a lot of people who hit Warlord in like 4th Age or prior to that are like sitting around Knight now, and there's a big skill difference nowadays between like Veteran, Knight, and then like mid captain to Marshal to Warlord, right? So I really hope they can get this done as soon as possible, because in my opinion, this is the biggest thing that makes the game feel not good to play. Like I said, I really like this update right now. I want to make that very clear. I haven't enjoyed PvP this much in a long time, and I'm happy every school now is competitive. It's just a little silly that the past 3 days I've streamed, I've had about a 70 to 80% win rate. And I spend 4 hours streaming, and when I'm done that stream, I'm sitting at either the same rank or I'm behind by like 10 rank when I started. Next up, I want to talk about incentives to PvP. So let's say there's a meta that's not so good, like the past year, for example, with balance and death being broken when they were. You could be like, okay, rank is, boosted, fake, just unplayable. At least I could go in and PvP for, a stat mount, maybe the stars and moons that I have on right now on my character. Wiz really needs to have more cosmetics in the game and more incentives in the game. For example, take my character, right? I already have the stars and the moons, so there's basically nothing to play for at that point. And PvP to me, and to a lot of players out there, by the way, a lot of, again, high rank players will agree with me here, PvP at that point is just about rank. But it's so frustrating because the rank system is the worst system in gaming history, and it doesn't feel good to play. So if that's all there is in making PvP, it's not going to be good. Players aren't going to like it. So I really think they need to update Marco. I've been saying this since the dawn of time. Update Marco with more TC. They have, which is good. Put some more rewards in Marco because, you know, this guy was a great idea coming into 5th Age. And, you know, people do use him quite a bit for, like, you know, gold keys or maybe crafting a piece of gear, right? But they really need to update this guy either with, like, meta gear to lower the barrier to entry, or just like give us more things to go for, you know, man. Like, give me a new wand, give me a new cosmetic set. A lot of people want stuff like the duelist robe to have the stars and the moons that we got from the commander set that I have on right now. That's a great idea. Or stat mounts, right? Another big barrier to entry. You can put that in Marco. That's great. That's just good for everybody. I personally have 2 Pierce mounts on my account. I wouldn't mind going in, grinding some PvP to get one on each character just as a quality of life thing. I think that's great for the game. Those are the 2 biggest things that I believe KingsIsle should prioritize and get done right away. And now I want to talk about kind of the meta, stuff like that, and, you know, the actual game itself in terms of like balancing, right? So it's no secret that Wiz is, you know, relatively unbalanced, of course, but it's not far off of being, you know, balanced, the Rochambeau world that the devs want. And, you know, that kind of is what it is. Hate Rochambeau or love it, it is what it is. Kind of just gotta deal with it, right? But basically, in my opinion, aside from the 2 big things at the start of the video, I think they really need to just look at the legacy spells and get them the hell out of here. So what is a legacy spell? That's stuff like Mana Burn, Pop, Shift, you know, Poison, Frostbite, all that stuff that just does not fit school identity anymore since Rochambeau. Same thing with the golems, right? In my opinion, these golems, like the hit and shields, should only be on their respected schools, like Ice, like Myth, like Death, right? Whether it's top path or bottom path, they are shield school cards, so they should be on there. Same thing with Storm Elf on the pet, right? Obviously, Storm Elf is different than Poison and Frostbite because it's 3 copies as opposed to 6 in the main deck. But on top of that, you're giving up a whole pet to run this, unlike other things in the game. So I believe those legacy spells really need to get looked at and just, you know, completely wipe them all off the board in one big update. I really hope KingsIsle can do that here pretty soon going forward. And the next thing I want to talk about is Jading. Now, personally, I haven't seen a lot of Life Sync queue. I honestly just have them all fling to me right now, honestly. I just think they don't want to bother playing my Storm because my Storm's been killing the game this update, honestly. So I don't blame them. But I haven't seen a lot of them, but I have heard a lot of complaints about people like spamming overtimes, healing, stuff like that. So I think they should look into a way to balance the systems around healing. I've also heard and seen cosplay be around in the meta. It's still a little too good. Most often what it is just a Jade cosplaying like Myth or Fire and then stacking a bunch of debuffs and heal spamming, and that's how they win the game. And I could go over every school and like what's annoying about it. You know, like Storm has Catch and Elf, Myth can hit through debuffs, Life can Jade, the Fire has dots, you know, but I'm not really going to do that in this video because, you know, every school kind of has everything broken about it right now, so I'm not going to do that. And the last thing I want to talk about in this video is going to be the auras. A lot of people don't like the aura ping pong, but I actually think I don't agree with that opinion. That's why I'm going to tell you why right here. I think aura ping pong is okay. Now, the reason I say this is because Brace and Stabilize are incredibly broken and they have been for quite a long time. But now you can answer that with a Starfall, you know, an Attenuate, and, you know, counter that aura and actually have a game and keep going forward. Prior to this update, you would have to wait out the entire 4 rounds of them sitting on like 100, 110 resist, sometimes in some cases, and then play the game. But that whole time, you're just sitting there taking damage and you can't do it back usually. So as silly as the aura ping pong might be, I do prefer it over just not being able to play the game against some schools. One thing I will say about it is the schools like Ice and Balance where they counter negative auras. I think those counters themselves are just way too good, especially the shoe one. That's like a shad's worth of value. I don't know what the hell they're thinking with this spell. So I think if they're going to nerf these spells, which they probably will, won't happen for a while, probably down the line in the meta, once people figure out, wow, these things are broken and stupid. That's typically how things work. But I'd recommend Shu just nerf the values on the trap or make it a single trap. Make it make sense, not a shad's worth of value. And then the bounce chameleon one, I think they just simply need to make it give back like less pips or do less damage. That's pretty much about it. Other than that, y'all, I think, like I said at the start, this is the best meta we've had in years, and all of these things I proposed in this video are pretty reasonable, I would say. And I swear to God, if I get a dumb comment being like, Liam, you're being so negative again, I am going to lose my shit on you in the comments, so don't do it. Anyways, hope you enjoyed. Leave a like and a sub if you made it this far. If you disagree with anything, let me know down there in the comments below. I will look forward to reading them, and see ya on the next one. Thank you for being here. Take care.